Welcome to the Badass Babe Manifest podcast. The vibe here is how to manifest in a simple and fun way, implementing my abundance DNA method without the bullshit, overcomplicated hacks or fluff. I'm your host, Kelly Pender, your spiritual manifestation coach, and together we're going to uncover your unique abundance frequency, step into who the fuck you are unapologetically, and remove the limitation caps as well as playing it small to open yourself the F up to the unlimited abundance, success, and money to easily flow into your life and or business. Let's manifest that shit. Hello, my love. Welcome back to another episode of the Badass Babe Manifest podcast. This one is juicy as fuck. We have Shelby St.Clair on the pod, who is a spiritual business mentor. And let me tell you, if you are like, I need to do this, I need to figure out my niche, I need to do this, I need to have all these things in place before I start, we dive into how to just fucking start. She shares her soul alignment activation method and to clear, finally fucking clear, something I've held on to for years and years and years. Clear this belief of why you can't be highly paid for your work, because you fucking can, and it's your birthright. You're going to be activated as fuck. And we also dive into how to differentiate and identify income driving tasks versus just busying yourself, and how to clear that out so we're no longer busying ourselves to prove our worth or to prove anything, so we can finally be in alignment with who the fuck we are and who we came here to be. And before we dive in, this is your invitation, my love, to book your free abundance manifestation audit with me. We can either do this on a call or make it super easy and do this right in the DMs. This is where I ask you a few questions and I give you personal feedback rooted in science as to where you are cock blocking yourself from your manifestations, from your desires, so that you can implement them and manifest 10 times more quickly. I have had quite a few audits recently, and every single woman is like, holy fuck, Kelly, I have worked with so many coaches, been in so many programs, invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, and no one has ever told me that before. I finally understand the link of where I've been cock blocking myself. And now they know it's not permanent. There was nothing ever wrong with them. And I share with them how they can fix it to allow more in with ease. It's going to blow your mind. I can't even fucking wait. And it's free. So to set up your abundance manifestation audit, just DM me the word audit, or you can head to the link in the show notes and you can book your audit. All right, my love, without further ado, let's dive into this episode with Shelby. Hey, Shelby, I'm so excited to have you on the pod. Thank you so much for being here with me.
I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, I know. It was so funny. Before we hit record, I was like, I don't even actually know how we connected. At all. But I remember, this is my memory. A reel came my way and it was of this spiritual business babe who like just posted you were pregnant. And I was like, wait, I just found out I was, oh my God. And I just felt this like connection to you. And then we just started chatting from there.
Yeah, I feel like it was just one thing, and then all of a sudden we were just responding to each other's stories all the time. And then it just felt like we were like, I don't know. It's like the talk just felt like we were already like best friends. Like I had known you for years. Like it was just this normal, just conversation
I know.
happening. And here we are now.
Here we are. I know, officially meeting. I love it. Okay, so because I love to help our listeners tap into their purpose and activate where they're meant to go, I would love to hear how you became a spiritual business mentor and tapped into all of your magic and gifts.
Yeah, well, if we think about my existence first coming into the world, I was really shunned from all of this, and the work that I do now was quite literally positioned as like demonic.
Mm,
And so it was very interesting how I kind of went from that entire belief system growing up and that being the program that was put into my entire system for 16 years until I broke away from that religion and I started to experience the world on my own. But it wasn't until life really started happening that I started to connect to the spiritual world and understand the depths of self and healing and like, hello, your intuition.
Mhm.
And so I went, these 16 years being told what to believe, what's right, what's wrong. This is the path. This is who you are. Once I broke away from that religion, I was seeking for love. That was the first thing that I was seeking for, right? Like place, acceptance, love,
Yeah.
which ultimately landed me in a marriage with somebody that I didn't really know, but
Mm.
that ultimately promised the world that I had never experienced before, right? So now at this point, I was 20 years old, young little Shelby, like, oh my God, I'm gonna have the whole world. Like, this
Yep.
is amazing. Look what else is out here. I never even knew that there was a whole world like this. And so I entered into this marriage, and immediately within the first 30 days, I knew that it was the worst choice that I had made.
Mhm.
But here again came all of that programming that I grew up with, that when you enter into union, you don't leave unless there's adultery.
Mm.
And so I found myself really stuck in this for 5 years. And over those years, it just got worse and worse. And the abuse got more and more. And it became very toxic, very emotionally abusive, at times physically abusive. And there were all of these different moments where I really should have walked away.
Mhm.
But there was that strong belief of what I was raised with. And honestly, even what like my parents would say when I would express or they would see these things, I was like, well, everything can be fixed, therapy, talk it out, figure it out. And ultimately that wasn't working at all. Right. And
Yeah.
so during this time, I really was like, who am I? What am I? Like, who am I outside of now this relationship? And it wasn't until that shortly after the 5-year anniversary mark that I remember just sitting and asking for a sign. Like, please, universe, source. At this point, I didn't know what I believed in, right?
Yeah.
Because like I was still kind of fresh out of the religion. So I was like, I have no idea. But I was like, source, universe, God, like something, give me a sign
Mhm.
that like this isn't it for me anymore. And like give me the confidence and the courage to leave. And it wasn't within days of that a massive argument broke out. And it was like ringing, just coming down and like activating that like third eye and intuition of like, this is a sign, this is a sign, listen to it, listen to it. And
Mhm.
for the first time, I listened and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I want to get a divorce. And that was the moment that everything really started for me.
Wow. Ooh, I have chills when you said that, like, came through. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
because I mean, think about it. Like we're all, if we're growing up in any way, shape, or form, where like our family, our people around us aren't spiritual
Yeah.
in that essence, right? Naturally, our intuition is shut off and shut down, and we
Mhm.
don't understand it, and we don't know how to connect back to it. And it's not until there comes a time, a moment, a point in our life where something calls for that to be listened to again and tapped back into and like led to trust.
Yes. Oh, I love that. It's so true. And I mean, like for me, personally, it's like it just feels so normal and natural to shut down signs, intuitions, like shoulds. I don't know. I feel like I heard something, but I don't know. I should do this. Like that feels normal and natural to us, which is sad.
Yeah, really sad actually.
Really sad.
like why? Why are we not trusting and believing that just that ping, those
Hmm.
gut feelings? Like why do we shut that gut feeling off and override it when our body is literally signaling to us what is good for us and what is not so good for us?
Yeah. I know. And when you're in a relationship or a situation or experience that's not good for you, you can start, like for me, I can start to physically see that
Mm.
with others because your body, your nervous system is like, hello,
Yeah.
get me out of this.
Yeah, you're like screaming for help.
Mhm.
But then again, if you're also surrounded by people who still again aren't connected or tapped in, right? They aren't seeing that.
Right.
So, and like we get so good at putting on a facade, even though it's not good, because those who can connect, those who can see through that, can
Mhm.
see the facade we put on, right? But to all the others that aren't connected, that don't have that deep, just intuitive hit, because it's so blocked off, that facade truly looks normal.
Yeah. God, it's so true. We're like, we're here to break that facade.
Right? Like, we're not here for that shit. We ain't got time for that no more.
No.
It's time to just like bust all of that down, take off the mask, and live as our true selves.
Yes, no time for that. So,
No.
okay, so how did you then get into spiritual business mentorship and where you are now? How did that come about?
Yeah. So after I went through the divorce, I ended up moving back in with my parents, which was like a whole thing in itself, right? Going back into this space. But at that point, I felt so strong because I had taken this courageous choice to choose myself.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? Nobody's going to tell me to go backwards ever again. And like there were moments, there were comments that my parents would make, or they would try to get me to, go back to the congregation and step into a meeting and like, oh, just let everybody love on you. Everybody feels so bad for what you're going through. And it was like, no, I'm good. Like, let me just discover who I am, right? Because I had already started to do that in the relationship. And now it was like I was free. So let me understand. So I started doing meditation. I started journaling. I
Mm,
started reading spiritual books. And slowly but surely, the more that I just tapped in and literally just sat in silence with myself, the more that I started activating, right? The more that I started being able to hear and listen and understand and connect. And from there, it just progressed more and more and more. And
mm,
so as I'm going through all of this and, I'm getting all of these, okay, oh my gosh, like this soul self. And like it feels so good to honor purpose and to step into this and to just be in alignment and like say yes to the things that feel like a honest to God yes, and no
mhm,
to the things that feel real shitty. Like, no, I'm
mhm.
sorry, I don't want to do that. Actually, I'm not even sorry. Like, I just don't want to do it.
Yes.
And that's when I really sat and I was like, okay, what am I going to do next?
Mhm.
Right. I'm living back here with my parents. This isn't the goal. This isn't the dream. This isn't where I want to be. I had in that relationship, I had three businesses that I had started and I had grown and I had different successes in each one. And when I got divorced, I left him with a multi six figure business and a team of 20. And I was just like, this is not worth fighting for.
Yeah.
You go ahead, you take it. I'm going to find me and I'm going to do what feels really good.
Mm,
And so I was just, as I'm going through this whole transition of understanding me for me,
yeah.
I stumble upon the world of coaching. And it was literally like a light bulb moment. I was like, hold on, this has been around. Why didn't I know anything about this?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, for all the things that I had gone through, I had to like learn myself on YouTube and Google and take myself through all of just this inner knowing and like education of things that I was not a master in. Like, holy crap, I could have just found somebody who was skilled in this and they could have helped me. But I'm like, damn, like I missed out. And then I started thinking, like, man, if I had found this world of coaching, potentially I could have understood that I could have ended that relationship earlier, right? But
Mm,
then it's like we also go and tap back into we have to experience things on the timeline that they're meant to happen because
yes.
that 5 years was pivotal and I
Mhm.
learned so much. And so done. Like, no wonder I wasn't shown the world of coaching in
Yeah.
that time because I wasn't meant to find it. I wasn't meant to know that that was out there. And so I was like, hold on, can I do this? Like, is this something that I could do? Is this something that I could step into? And for me, that was a full body yes. I
Mm.
knew how to start, grow, and scale businesses. And I knew all of the ins and outs and all of the struggles that come along the way. So I first entered into coaching in 2017 solely with that purpose and intention of helping women start and grow their business.
Mm.
And yeah, and like that was it, right? It was just like, let me just come in and really help people who want to step into this and give them the confidence to be able to do it and the tools and the resources and the guide.
Yeah.
And that's where it began. But because I was starting to do all of this inner work as I was working with clients, I then started to realize and connect how much life got in all of these women's ways.
Yes.
And I was like, oh man, we all got to do more inner work. Like, we've
Mhm.
got to bring more of that into business. And
Yeah.
so I started to play with it. And I started to bring that into my programs and into my private coaching. And I started to see how women were really liking it and how it was helping them see themselves in a new way.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, there's something here. This is it. And during this time, I had reconnected with somebody I went to high school with. We got married.
Mm.
I ended up pregnant. So we got married in November of 2018, found out I was pregnant in February of 2019. And at this point, like, my business is gaining momentum because I'm connecting these dots, right? I'm coming on Instagram and I'm talking about the soul and I'm talking about tapping into purpose. And at this time, it wasn't necessarily as big of a conversation as it is today.
Yeah.
In 2018, it was like it was really just starting to become a topic of
Mhm.
awareness. And so I am starting to, drop this and talk about it and seeing how people are really resonating. And then my husband unexpectedly passes away in July of 2019 while I was 6 months pregnant. And this is the moment that really dropped me in because I had such a deep understanding of soul, of purpose, of connection, of intuition, of source, and of energy. I was like, okay, I've got this little baby in me for 3 more months.
Mhm.
She's going to feel everything that I'm going through,
Mhm.
and she does not deserve to enter into this world with all of this energetically stuck in her and her not understand why.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, and that was like that became my entire like switch right then and there. Like,
Mhm.
we've got to break the chains of generational trauma
Yes.
because what's going to happen at this very moment if I sink into darkness in this moment when everything felt dark and I
Mhm.
stay stuck there and I stay stuck in the grief cycle and I feel that over and over and over and over again and I never find a way out, what is that going to do for her?
Yeah.
And so I just started doing more healing work. I started, I was pregnant, but I was like, we're going to tap into breath work, right? We're
Yeah.
doing this. We're doing it
Ooh.
easy. We're doing it simple. We're doing it slow, right? It was like tapping into breath work, having sessions with psychics and mediums,
Mhm.
really tapping into the world of spirituality and all of the different resources out there and the people and their gifts and like understanding, right? Like going back into the Akashic records and like really understanding what that is and like what my path was and why I'm here. And it was like, it all makes sense. And
Mm.
again, right here we are in this moment of like crisis
Yeah.
and hell, literally, because it sucked. Like, okay, everything was so perfect. And I finally knew what love was and I was feeling it and like everything was building. And here I am again now in the depths of despair. But it brought me even closer to the light.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why I ended up in that relationship, right? Like, there
Mhm.
was the bigger purpose to guide me even deeper into the work that I'm meant to bring to the world. And I just went all in at that point. I was like, this is it. Like, I'm not a business coach.
Yeah.
I'm a spiritual business mentor. Like, I am helping people go inward, and we
Mhm.
are breaking these chains of generational trauma, and we're not going to carry this on in any further in our lineage. And we are damn well going to claim the success that is our birthright because we deserve it. And we just got to let all of this other stuff go that isn't serving us. And we've got to do it in a way where like it feels harmonious and we're not struggling. And like that's where we are today.
Oh God, that is so beautiful. I love the whole like your whole life story and how your purpose revealed itself to you. And I
Mhm,
think that that's so wonderful because I mean, you can hear about, like breaking generational chains and trauma. And like, I know what that is. You know what that is deeply. Like, you
mhm.
really experienced it in that moment and you made that decision, which, like, when you said that, oof, I felt that in my entire body. Like, that moment right there was
Mm,
you dropping into your purpose.
mhm. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
wow. That's amazing.
And it felt so good and easy. And I think that that's the thing that us as business owners need to start realizing and recognizing that when it feels good and when it feels easy, it's because it's the right thing.
Yeah.
Instead of us like trying to go and rework the whole thing because it shouldn't be that easy.
Yep.
No, it's meant to. Like if it's
Yeah.
meant for us, it's meant to feel that way.
Oh, I'm really happy you said that because I can't tell you how many, you know, clients that I've worked with where it's like, and you hear this a lot, I'm sure. I'm trying to build my business and it's so hard and I'm so overwhelmed and I'm trying. And it's like we just hearing that and what you said, it's like, yeah, we have this conditioned belief that like success means to like burn yourself out to a crisp and to let it be the hardest thing in the world. And it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. And that comes from like the idea and the time that we all, most of us, lived through
Mhm.
where it was all about hustle. Like
Yeah.
that was praised.
Yep.
You grind, you hustle, like you work your life away and you make your dreams come true, even if that means sacrificing everything else. There's going
Mhm.
to come a time where you get to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Mm, like we get to do both and we don't have to hustle.
Oh, I love that. Fuck hustle. Um,
Yes.
gosh. So I want to go back to what you were saying, how and highlighting this for those who are listening, because so many of us are worried about our niche.
Mm,
And then we're like, I need to figure this out. I need to like know exactly what I'm doing. And highlighting it like you just started. You just made a move and you kept going and it revealed itself to you. Right.
mhm.
And I think that for those listening, it's like stop worrying about the niche and like boxing yourself in this category and just make the move. Start the thing. Take the effing action and it's going to reveal itself to you. But like
Yeah.
you got to make the move.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. I love that you said that because I say this all the time. Like, how good is it for you if you're just going to sit there and question every single thing every single day and never put anything out there and never even tell anybody what you're passionate about and never even share anything that anybody could give you money for because you're so worried about it not being the right thing?
Mhm.
Like, what if you just put it out there? And what if it didn't sell like hotcakes? But what if you learned a lot about yourself along that way?
Mhm.
Like, that's magic in itself. But
Yeah.
you're never going to get there. You're never going to recognize those things. You're never going to connect the dots until you just start putting things out there and allowing it to all then just show up in front of you because it will.
Yeah.
It always does.
Yep.
But like you holding yourself back, you stop it from even being able to show itself, because the
Mhm.
universe is like, okay, here, like, I'm waiting, I'm waiting to show you. Like, are you ready yet? And you know how people like, okay, this, I love this. And there's still moments when I do this too. So I'm not even knocking it. But you know how when you like ask for a sign and then you're like, oh, okay, thank you. Can I have one more sign just to confirm if that's right?
Yes. Yes. Was that really it? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's so
Oh,
true. It's so true. We're the only ones holding ourselves back. And like, I mean, I don't share this often. Like, if those who are listening are new to the pod, I used to, but like, I started out as a yoga teacher. You know what I mean? Like, that was my path. I never knew coaching existed. I never knew about mindset inner work. Like, NLP, neural energetic encoding, manifestation. I knew nothing about that. So if I was like, Kelly, don't be a yoga teacher, just like keep going in your 9 to 5 because you have to, I wouldn't be here in this
mhm.
moment right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what would your life look like?
Oh, I don't know.
Right? Like, but like that's also the crazy thing is like we try and script our life from what we don't even know.
Hmm.
We can actually script it into what we want.
Yeah.
We truly can, but guess what that takes? Like going from yoga teacher to allowing the path to reveal itself and landing where we're supposed to be rather than being a yoga teacher and just saying, well, this is as good as it gets.
Right. Right. And that for me, I felt so trapped in like this confined space. And I could feel myself wanting to expand and move and
Mm,
grow and receive. And I was like, no. And it just felt so until something happened. I had a massive grief, spiritual awakening, and then
yeah.
off we went.
Right? Then it was like, here's my wings and I'm flying.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. And like, I really want to talk about being spiritual and being business owners and
mm,
CEOs. I remember when I first became a yoga teacher and then, like, my path of coaching and manifestation and whatnot. I remember just feeling and hearing, well, because you're spiritual, you can't like really get highly paid for your work. You have to keep yourself here. And I remember feeling so much resistance to that and like so much heaviness around that. And I really want to talk about this because I know that those who are spiritual, I I want to break that and I want to rewire that and remove that story where I don't even know where that stemmed from.
mm,
But I was continuing to subscribe to that. And it was keeping me so, so small. And I had this fear of being fully seen in my gifts and in my purpose because of being spiritual. It was like
mm.
a safety net that I had, a facade emotionally, physically, financially, that I was like, I don't know. And it kept me so just in a box. So I'd love to hear your wisdom on that.
Yeah, isn't it wild? So as you were saying that, this is gonna seem probably really, really insane for a lot of people, but as you were saying that, what kept coming through to me, because you were like, I don't even know where this came from. Where did it come from? It came from Jesus. He was a healer.
Mm,
He was serving others, right? He was out there putting his feet to the ground and helping others. And he wasn't highly paid
hmm.
for it, right? He ended up giving his life
Yeah.
for that work.
Mm.
So that just dropped in, right? That's where this, like, systemically
Yep.
comes from, right? This is imprinted in us, and then it is compounded by how we grow up and our belief system around money. And then unconsciously, we're programmed that as healers and as spiritual leaders and as those helping others on the path to whatever it is that they are heading towards, that because we're here to help them and serve them and give to them and provide for them and like help them see their path, that we aren't meant to receive so that we can have our biggest, grandest dreams become our life.
Mm.
Right. And like ultimately, that's all bullshit
Yeah.
because the truth and the reality is we were placed on this earth and we were given a desire on the heart that led us into the work that we're doing because we're meant to be highly paid for it and we're meant to claim the success that is our birthright and we're meant to call in all of that abundance. But it is because that part of us feels as though because we're helping people heal
Hmm.
and we're serving people in that way that we can't ask for
Yes.
payment, right? It's like
Hmm.
it's almost like what I'm seeing right now is like that feeling of going on the streets and like handing out to the homeless
Yeah.
and like we're giving and it's like our payment should be the fulfillment
Yep.
that we're helping others. But like damn, no. Like we were given these gifts and
Hmm.
we were placed here with these gifts and they were activated within us because we're meant to help people change their life. And ultimately what it comes down to when it comes to business is that people are more like better off when there is a transaction because they are creating that energetic
Yeah.
gratitude for you helping them
Mm.
with the thing that they need help with. And that just triggers in their mind that they paid for this help. And guess what? They're then going to actually do the work
Yes. Yeah.
because girl, you can go and you can put as many 11, like I'm talking $11 and 11 cents things out there to try and help the world.
Hmm.
But at some point, your gifts are so magnetized and your gifts are so grand and your gifts are so life-changing and the work that you're doing in the spiritual world and the spiritual community holds so much power and potency that somebody has to make that energetic financial transaction
Hmm.
so that they can lock on to that work and it actually work for them. It's all energy.
Yep.
We know that. Like,
Hmm.
so it like the dollar bills come down to that energy too. What people are paying us is what they value in themselves to take on and to do the work.
Yeah.
And that's why us as business owners, we have like tiers, right?
Hmm.
We have this space for people to come in where they get to enjoy us and get to know our work at a lower cost.
Hmm.
And then we get to scale them up into our work as they connect deeper. But why do we have those tiers? And why do they go up into the ascension model with us in our businesses? Because we're carrying them through that. And each time they pay us, it's them energetically signing the contract of I'm ready for that next level.
Mm.
I'm ready to break through and bust through. So when somebody comes and they're looking for somebody to work with privately, and it's a high ticket program, like they're saying yes to paying that because they're like, you know what? I want to expand that much.
Yes.
I'm ready for that.
Hmm.
And so, like, allow yourself to receive that.
Yeah. Mm. That was it. That was so activating for us on such a beautiful level. I love that when I was saying that you saw like that came from Jesus. So effing true. It's in the Bible. So like it has to be what it is. And yeah, we just have passed that on. that feels so freeing. The way that my brain works, and this is why I always talk about the science of the brain, I'm like, I need to know the root. I need to know where it
Mm,
came from. And I've spoken about this quite often, but again, I haven't had you on the pod yet. No one has been able to connect the dots as to where that has came from. I
mm,
love that. I've never heard that before. And I'm like, that's it. Yes, we've uncovered it.
yeah,
Done. Now we can break
done.
it.
Now let's like wash it away, like let
Done.
it go. Like it doesn't have to be in our ethos anymore. And
Hmm.
we get to be highly paid.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it feels good to claim that and to own that. And what you said just there, you activated that within us.
Mm,
And that's
yeah,
what we need. We need
yeah.
that activation, that expansion to give ourselves permissions to receive, to be in our gifts, to be in our purpose.
Mm, yeah. That word that you just said, permissions, right? Like we have to grant ourselves the permission to live life differently.
Hmm.
We have to grant ourselves permission to believe differently.
Hmm.
And the moment that we just give ourselves the permission, we take the lid off of the glass that we've kept ourselves in and we get to climb out and we get to experience a whole new world. And like everything then feels attainable
Yeah.
because we're not keeping ourselves in this small little jar of these like tiny little messages getting dropped in of what we can have. And we're like opening them up. We're like, okay, all right, I'll take that one. Let me put that in my pocket. Like,
Oh,
uh,
I love that. No, this is amazing. This is what so many of us need to hear. And okay, so for those who are allowing themselves to really be paid for their work, what would you say like their first step to take is?
mhm. First, you gotta like actually let this go right here and now. You dropped into the permission for this to be your new belief, for this to be your new reality, but you've got to actually physically let it go.
Mhm.
You've got to allow yourself the time to tap in and find where that little tricky bastard, we're going to call it a tricky bastard because that's what it is. We're going
What
to
it
call
is.
it, we're going to find it where it is within the body. And this is what I do within my soul alignment activation method. And it's just first allowing people the moment, because it doesn't take long, to think about that thing, right? Why have I been afraid of receiving high amounts of money?
Mhm.
And you use that third eye. You use that third eye to scan the body, to tap in. Where is this little bugger hiding? And you connect to it and you ask it to come forth and show itself. And as it's showing itself, you yourself start connecting to what emotion is coming up for you,
Mm.
right? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it resentment? Is it sadness?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what is this emotion that is tied to this thing that is here hiding and living within our body? And when you tap into that and you connect to the emotion, I'm just going to go with sadness here.
Mhm.
You ask sadness, then, what message do you have for me today?
Mm.
And you allow sadness to share what it needs to share. And usually it's around something of how it's like keeping you safe, right?
Yeah.
How it's protecting you, why it believes it needs to be there. And you ask it, what are you afraid of if you weren't here keeping me safe? Right? Like you're quite literally tapping into the physical manifestation of this thing that's anchored into you, that is holding you in this belief that you can't have, that you can't receive, that you can't be highly paid.
Yeah.
And as you're understanding and connecting to this core reason of why this protector has been here keeping you safe and why it is afraid to leave you, you ask for it to show you the very moment in time that it dropped into the space within your body to start protecting you. And it will show you. It will show you the experience, the moment. So often this goes back to our childhood because that's how deeply rooted these things are, right? The belief came like we uncovered from Jesus, but
Mm-hmm.
it's been finally impounded into our physical self in this body, in this life from our upbringing and what we've been told and what those around us have said.
Yeah.
And we've got to let that part go. So when that comes through, that moment, that experience, we literally have to allow ourselves to like talk to that moment, talk to that part, and then set it free.
Mm-hmm.
Like tell that part, I am in control now. The me that is state your age, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm here to do. Give so much gratitude and love. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for holding me, keeping me safe, for protecting me
Mm-hmm.
for all of this time. And now I'm going to set you free. And it's like you ask this part where it wants to go now.
Mm.
Where do you want to go live your life? Because you don't have to be in me anymore, protecting me and keeping me safe from receiving a lot of money. I'm
Yeah.
meant to change the world. So what do you want to go do? Because I'm going to change the world because I'm in control now. And like send it to where it wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
If it's our little childlike self, she wants to go play in a field and like swing and have fun and live joyfully. And then like just set all that free. I take my clients through this, and at this part I usually say, how do you want to let go of this? How
Yeah.
does this part want to let go? Do you want to set it on fire? Do you want to put it in the water? Do you want to bury it in the ground? Do you want to set it free into the air? And like watch that happen. And you'll feel it. You'll feel the drop in your body. You'll feel the release. You'll feel the let go as all of that energy
Mm.
fully releases from you. And then you thank it. You thank it for the time. You thank it for its help. You send that part off and you come back into the now and you open up to an entire new existence.
Yes. Mm.
So that's where you start. Like, that's it. You got to let it go.
Yes. Oh, that's perfect. Yes. This is where you get to claim. This is where you get to show up and you're no longer self-protecting.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. You take yourself through that and then you've already anchored in, right? Again, like I said, well, what you said, you gave yourself the permission. You
Mm-hmm.
already did that, and now you just fully let it go. So there's no energetic connection. There's no part here. Now you've got the mind, the body, and the soul connection
Yeah.
to what it is that you're meant to do and what it is that you're ready to call in. And then you just go out there and do it, and you take the messy action, and you show up, and like you let things play out
Mm-hmm.
and trust. Ultimately, trust.
Yep. Mm. I love that so much. So, what's coming through right now, those who are listening might be like, this is amazing. I love this so much. But what about when I have this pressure and frustration when it comes to social media and like
Mm-hmm.
posting and sharing my offerings and I need it to work and I need it to be like this and it's not working and engagement is low. What would you tell them?
Yeah. So here's the thing. When we are stuck in that belief and that just idea and that mentality, we're so focused on it that that is the energy that we keep creating for ourselves. So we set this high expectation for ourselves. You know what? To like make my business happen, I have got to post 7 days a week, 3 times a day to my feed, and I got to be in my stories all day long, and I just got to like put it all out there. What is happening in that moment? Other people are feeling it
Mhm.
because how you're talking and how you're speaking and what you're writing is coming from an energy of need and an energy of scarcity and an energy of save me, like pay
Mhm.
me and save me.
Mhm.
And that's not what your people want.
Mhm.
So we've got to release the expectation,
Yeah.
drop into reality, and ask ourselves, okay, I've got this beautiful, purposeful business that I'm running. I also have a life. What can I what can I actually honestly do? How can
Mhm.
I truly show up in my powerful state, put my best foot forward, put my greatest content out there, show up in a way of value that I am giving to other people to let them feel me and see me consistently.
Yeah.
Right? Because here's the thing, we all talk about how the algorithm hates us and how it doesn't work for us, right? Like we do. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it hates me.
Mhm. Yep.
It's not working for me. I'm getting no engagement. I'm getting no likes. I'm getting no views. Da, da, da. We've got to play with this robot just a little bit. Because this robot is so brilliant, it is trying to see if we are also like really into what we're doing.
I agree with that.
And so if we are constantly changing our messaging, if
Mhm.
we are constantly switching up what it is that we're talking about or how we're talking, if we are gung ho for a week and then we drop off, like the algorithm is like, I don't know who you are or what you do or like what's going on with you. I'm confused as hell.
Yeah.
And I definitely can't show you to anybody. And so, like, the robot is against us, and the energetic forces of the universe are against us because we are against ourselves and we're so confused and we're trying to do things out of alignment.
Mm.
So, so we got to drop into the reality. What can we do?
Yeah.
How can we show up? Like, so often, what I see people focusing on is sharing 1,000,001 offers.
Yes.
Like, I know you're confused about your offers when you're sharing 1,000,001. I know you are.
I'm
So,
confused.
exactly. So we are all confused. So like there's number one,
Mhm.
right? Like as you're building your business, focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Get people to understand how that one thing is going to change their life.
Mhm.
And as people start subscribing to that and they are entering into your world and into your field through that, and you are so passionate about how that is changing people's lives, then you can go ahead and drop another thing in there and start talking about it. And just like this slow progression. Imagine if you had one thing, and let's just say that this one thing was under 200 bucks.
Mhm.
But you are solely focused on getting so crystal clear on who this is for and how it's going to help them and the transition that it's going to take them through from what they're painfully in today to where they're going to be at the end of this thing, no
Yeah.
matter if it is something that they go through by themselves or it's a coaching program with you.
Mhm.
Like you wholeheartedly know that they're going to get this transformation from this. Focus on that. Like, tell people what it's going to do for them. I also see so often with people sharing their offers of sharing like all of the features,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, it's this long and it has this many modules
Mhm.
and you have this many calls with me and you get so many workbooks and all of those things. Okay, those things are great, but at the end of the day, like, what is somebody actually going to get from you?
Yeah.
And that needs to be your focus.
Yeah.
So hit Instagram from the moment that you listen to this podcast on and choose one thing to focus on. Get really crystal
Mhm.
clear on who your soul client is, what you're guiding them through, how you're going to change their life, Like, think about you when you were in that moment of pain, like they are, and how this process helped you, right? Because we are our past version of our soul client.
Yes.
We always are.
Always. That was juicy. That was perfect. When you were saying that, I was thinking about whenever I would create a new offer, it was because I needed something from the external,
Mhm.
right? Like sometimes I would be like, oh my God, something, this was like in the past, something came my way. This is meant to be. I'm going to put it out. No, bitch, you weren't in alignment. It's because you needed external validation and then it never worked.
Yep. Yep. You're like, "Oh, see, I need this new thing and I need to create it. I need to put it out there because this thing isn't working and this is the right thing."
Yes.
And 100% it's external validation of like,
Yep.
look, oh, this came through.
Hmm. Yeah. And now I'm done with that. And it feels really good to put all your focus and energy into one thing that works really fucking well.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
took me years to understand that.
Same girl. Same. Same. I had so many things and it was like there was small groups of people in all of these things. And ultimately they were helping the same thing. But
Hmm.
it was like
Yep.
everybody was so confused and
Yes.
stretched out and stretched thin that it didn't actually make sense and nobody really understood
Hmm.
what they were going through, what they were experiencing.
Yep.
And when I just dialed back and simplified everything and focused on just core offerings and like that being it and not feeling like I have to remake the wheel every
Yep.
month.
Yes.
And like this is so, and I'm going to say this because I know that people are thinking this. This is so far off of what some of these big coaches do.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe it's not working so well for them. Or maybe,
Could
I'm
be. Who's
just
to
gonna say that.
say?
I'm just gonna say it. Or maybe they have the energy for that.
Right.
And like that's what does work for them. There's some people that love to be on 1,000,001 Zoom calls a week.
Hmm.
And that's great.
Hmm.
That's not me. That doesn't realistically fit with my life with a 4-year-old and a 7-month-old.
Me neither.
Like, so why am I going to put that pressure on myself?
Yeah.
So, like, we got to understand that part too, our
Mhm.
own energetic strategy to it all, which is why it goes back to what I said about Instagram alone. Like, ask yourself, what can you really do? How often can you honestly show up? Because if you can show up consistently 3 days a week and you choose to show up on Monday, Thursday, and Friday every week,
Mhm.
because you know that those are your days where maybe you have extra help with your kids or you just feel like you have a little extra free time or whatever it is, like go for it.
Yeah.
Get consistent with that. Show up consistently on those days with the post, with the reel, with whatever. And then, hey, if something comes in and you feel a little extra spicy and you want to drop something extra in there for the week, make an extra post. But at least get consistent with what you know you can do
Mhm.
and let it build from there.
Mm. I love that. That right there is like a beautiful alignment strategy in itself and so
Mhm.
needed. Because again, I'm just thinking about myself in the past. It was like, I need to do this and do all the things. And this was even before kids. And like,
Mhm.
I'm a projector in human design. I don't have the energetic capacity to be on 24/7. Like, no,
Mhm. Mhm.
that's not me and it
Yeah,
never was.
exactly. But we're forcing ourselves into it. Why? Because that belief of the hustle mentality, and
Yeah.
you gotta hustle for your success. I'll tell you what, the moment that I started sticking to and grounding in to having every single Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off, and
Mm.
like not checking my emails, not worried about client check-ins, like my clients know you ain't gonna see me. And if you do, it's because I just like have nothing better to do. And I'm like, hey girl, what's up? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, because I had the energy or felt the need and the
Mm-hmm.
want, not the need, the want. But like the moment that I started taking those days off, and then on the 4 days a week that I do work, not working more than 6 hours a day. Usually I'm around 4 hours for the day that I work.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you what, the universe started giving it all. Why? Because I energetically matched my capacity. I
Mhm.
energetically matched what feels good to me. And I got really rock solid on all the things that I was doing that didn't actually fucking matter.
Yes. Okay. I want to hear, I was sharing this with my clients inside my mastermind, and I want to hear your expertise on this. How can we get rid of all of the things in our business that don't fucking matter? But they're sneaky because we think that they matter. So I
Mhm.
want to hear this.
We sure do. Okay, so this was like a process for me. I took a
Yeah.
good couple weeks of actually like allowing myself to just watch myself. And
Yeah.
before I even decided to like pull back and stop doing certain things, I had to take note of my day to day and
Hmm.
like get really honest with allowing myself in every single moment. I just had a piece of paper and I would write the thing that would come to mind that I felt like I needed to do. And
Yeah.
like because I'm going through this process, I would still do the thing because that was what I was used to doing. And after a couple weeks, I was just looking at the end of the day at my list and I'm like, how many things on this did I actually do that were income driving?
Mm.
And how many things on this list did I do just to try and keep myself busy?
Yep.
To make myself believe that the more work that I do and the more things that I do, the more money I'm going to make. There were so many small, stupid things I was doing that did not matter, like recreating graphics,
Mm-hmm.
like going onto my website and like, oh, this isn't perfect. Let me go ahead and change this.
Yes. The big one.
and, and spending like days at a time tweaking and doing all of these things. So it was just allowing myself to actually see what am I spending a monumental amount of time on that is not actually generating me any income.
Yes.
And a coach of mine taught me this process and it like blew my mind because because I was doing all these stupid little tasks.
Yep.
But he was like, okay, how much money do you want to make for the year? Right. So you take that number
Mm-hmm.
and then you say, how many hours do you want to work a week? Okay. So then you go ahead and you take that many hours that you want to work a week and you multiply that by 52, or say you want to take some vacations in there, you go ahead and cut some weeks off. All right.
Yeah.
So I only want to work this many weeks out of the year. I want to work this many hours. And you go ahead and you divide that income goal by how much you actually want to work for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And if what you are doing is going to cost you less to pay somebody else to do it, then pay somebody else to do it.
Mm.
Because you could take that time that you're paying somebody else to do the thing that could potentially cost you only $10 an hour to have somebody else do,
Yeah.
you are biting into this number is usually well over a couple $100s for people
Mm-hmm.
an hour that you desire to be making, and that should be your only focus.
I love that. I love that. Yes. Ooh.
Like that blew the cap off for me because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm over here doing minuscule tasks, stupid little things that
Yep.
I could just ask somebody else to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then we have to take our little need to control everything fingers out of there.
Yes.
And again, trust, but just finding somebody to help with these little things or just completely wiping it off the table because it actually doesn't matter right now.
Right.
And just focusing on the things that are going to make us money.
Mm-hmm.
And like that being it.
I love that. That being it, simplify, stop busing
Mhm.
ourselves to prove our worth. No more. Oh,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
amazing. So many nuggets dropped, so much like, activation. And the one thing I always ask my guests is, what makes you feel like a badass babe?
Mm. This is honestly, this is what makes me feel like a badass babe. When I get to enjoy a hot cup of coffee
Mm,
with nothing else on my fucking mind.
yes.
That makes me feel like a badass babe. Why? Because I can so easily drop into all of the other bullshit that I need to take care of worrying about what time my kids are going to start crying for me to get them out of bed, of
Yes.
all the other things. But when I actually pour into myself and I take that moment to just sip that warm cup of coffee and it feels so good hitting the
Mm,
lips, that sets my whole day off. So
yeah.
then I go through the actual whole day feeling like a badass because I poured into me first.
Oh, fuck
And
yeah.
that's it.
Love that. I love that so much. I'm like, I so relate to that right now. Yes. Pouring into yourself
Yes.
first. Amazing. Oh, God. This was so magical. This was really beautiful. I know you've activated many, many, many listeners, including myself. Tell us where we can find you, how we can work with you, all the things.
Yes. So come on over to Instagram at the Shelby St. Clair. I am on there all the time, sharing all the things. Love to have conversations in the DMs, just like Kelly and I connected and we just started talking. And
Yes.
here we are getting to share with all of you today. You can check out my website, shelbystclair.com. I have a free 7-day mini course on there called Boundless Breakthrough. And it is a extremely transformational course that just takes you through tapping into self and uncovering these limiting beliefs that are hiding within and helping you break through and crack through and just let them go so that they are no longer barriers for your life.
Mm.
I have also a 3-day live training that's coming up. So if you are interested in that, I'm actually not sure when this podcast comes out, um, but that will be there, replays. It'll all be on the site under Total Ascension Business Builder. So just come, check all the things out, have a conversation. Let me know your biggest takeaway from this episode. What was activated for you? What came through? Any other questions? I'm here to support you and hold you. Like, you got this. Your life is meant for so much magic.
Mm.
And the moment that you just allow yourself to tap in and to trust and to surrender to anything having to work out in the way that our tricky little mind tells us it has to work out, you're going to watch your life change beautifully.
Ugh. Words of wisdom, words of magic. I'm going to put all that info in the show notes so everyone can contact you and get into your world and magical self. Thank you so much, Shelby. This was really beautiful.
Thank you for having me here.
Yay! That was so much freaking fun. If you love this episode as much as I did, please take a screenshot and tag me on Instagram at @the_badass babe so I can share and celebrate you. And I have a special gratitude gift for you. If you're feeling called, please give us a 5-star rating and write your review on Apple Podcasts. Take a screenshot, submit it. Let me know and I'll send you instant access to my Fuck Yes Money hypnosis as a thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.